This is one of the things that's actually very confusing, I think, for a lot of people on the outside, is that they don't understand how um, Revoice was not directly something of the PCA because it's a parachurch organization. What happened was a PCA church allowed their space to be used to host Revoice. But there were also, there were other informal connections as well. Members of that church are actually on the board of Revoice.
Sure.
So there's a particular Stephen Moss, I believe, is Covenant Seminary grad, former RUF intern, who went to St. Louis after being in Nashville. He is one of the organizers of it. So it has because it was connected or hosted by PCA Church and informally connected to a PCA church, it of course generated a massive controversy within the denomination.
Yeah.
So the last year, the internet has been abuzz with constant back and forth over the content of the conference. The conference itself, Revoice, is as I've watched it, seems to be like any young organization, just trying to kind of figure out its own identity. This last year, they recently put out some statements, doctrinal statements, kind of affirming where they are. But it's a pretty broad umbrella, in many ways. It's very much like a lot of typical evangelical parachurch organizations, in that it hasn't staked out doctrinal territory anywhere close to the precision and extensiveness as what you find in the Westminster Standards, right? In fact, it's even broader than Protestant Catholic divide, because there's some notable Catholics involved in it, and so the doctrinal statement that they produced, and this is one of the centers of controversy, is vague enough that a Roman Catholic with a Roman Catholic view of concupiscence could affirm the statement. So all that then generated action within the courts of the church. So last year, the Missouri Presbyterian, at the request of Greg Johnson himself, the pastor of the church, he requested to be investigated, which is a highly commendable action on his part, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They erected a study committee to do two things, really. They produced, so if you read through the study committee that they produced, it's a very long document. It's like 140 pages. And the reason for that is because it's not only a brief study. So some of the other Presbyterians produced study committees that digested somewhat some of the issues of Revoice. But the Missouri committee is not just a study committee. It was also doing the task of judicial investigation. So there's a lot of specifics in it, and recommended judgments by the court. So it's very lengthy because of that. But they were not the only court to take. Some multiple presbyteries overtured the General Assembly in different ways. So there were a couple overtures proposing various statements that were crafted by presbyteries in response to Revoice. There was an overture which did pass. It didn't get as much publicity, but an overture that proposed that the PCA declare what the RPCNA had produced some years ago on the same question to be biblically faithful, and commend it for study. But the kind of the big headline overture was the two different overtures. The primary one coming from Calvary Presbytery, proposing that the PCA, I'll read the language from my article, that the PCA declare the Council of Biblical Manhood and Womanhood's Nashville Statement on Biblical Sexuality as a biblically faithful declaration, and refer the Nashville Statement to the Committee on Discipleship Ministries for inclusion and promotion among its denominational teaching materials. So that was went through the Overtures Committee, came to the floor of the General Assembly at 9 p.m. at night. If you're watching this debate and you're wondering why there's a tired look in people's eyes, it's because it was late in the evening.
Sure.
and we had a pretty substantial debate over that. It's very interesting if you get the chance to go watch the live stream, the back and forth. It was I've never seen as many large personalities in the PCA come participate in a deliberation as I had that one.